Record to this computer. We are now recording. So this is me putting together some parts and pieces of an approach that worked. Oh God, we're not even going to go how many years back, but 1978, 78, 79, and then kind of fell into disuse. But there's more to it now, especially today. So that 2026 is going to be vastly different if you want it to be, because you're going to have in your hands an approach that literally does away with rejection. It automatically targets the right people for you, which we're going to discuss. And I'm calling it, I heard a new term here, which I think is cool. Instead of an attitude adjustment, we're going to be looking at an identity adjustment. What's that? Well, we all can have an attitude. It doesn't matter. And adjusting that will be up to you. But the identity part hit home because I spent all this time thinking I knew, what I'm doing and who I am and all that other stuff. And then finally realized that our identity, we have different identities. We've got you just chilling and doing nothing. You've got you at work, you with the kids, you so on and so forth. And there's an identity adjustment we're going to make. There's Wayne, and it's being recorded, Wayne.
Okay,
And we're just now getting rolling here, so it's good.
good.
And you've got your oxygen going, so you're going to be fresh and at it here, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
There you go. So an identity adjustment, to kind of put that in perspective, way back in the day when I was selling insurance and financial services, trust me when I tell you that's a challenging, well, some of you already know that. It's a challenging field. And I actually literally heard myself say to somebody, this is not what I do. This is who I am. Oh, wow. Well, that's different. I mean, it brings a whole different weight to the deal. All right. So what's that got to do with now and having an epic 2026? Because we can have different identities, meaning as we're doing something, sooner or later you have to kind of drop into the role of whatever that is. And that role means that's the identity you're playing, that you're putting forward. So in all this time, literally from 1978, when we discovered network marketing through Shackley, until now, recently, when we would join a company like Shackley, like so many of them, we finally slipped into the identity of we're a distributor for that company. We're a Shackley distributor, an Amway distributor. We lost Magdalena. And so that's going to be Magdalena probably saying, uh-oh. Let's find out.
It's your ball.
Okay, she's, lost her internet. Okay. All right, so the downside of having a distributor and we could go back and forth, distributor for a company, identity, so we are them, or we became a weight loss specialist or a wrinkle specialist, or whatever the product, flavor of the day of that company was, specialist. And that's the role we played. So kind of giving the Reader's Digest condensed version of 50 years, almost. It never occurred to me until literally, because I continue to read and have mentors and pay for coaching and stuff like that, never occurred to me the real identity that's going to serve us well going forward is the business person identity. Become a business person. And the whole coaching reason for that, as a business person, you don't marry yourself to the goal of the company or the product or the illness or the physical issue that their products fix or anything. You're not married to that. It doesn't mean now, as a business person, so little Q&A here. Does a business person care whether or not their product serves a legitimate need?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? As a business person, can you become involved in really being happy, glad, ecstatic to see whatever it is you're doing help people have a better life?
Yep.
Absolutely. Right? But that's performance side of whatever service, product, etc. As a business person, is it paramount importance that your business makes money?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And most everybody I know, in fact, actually, literally, I could say everybody I know that's in business, that's where they take it to. My business has to make money. Hello, or we can't continue to serve the people. The better business people, the ones who are literally leveling up, though, get help in another area, refining, honing, adjusting their business to make the most out of their time, money, resources. Make their business, make it easier, more efficient and effective for their business to make money. And that was the part that completely got missed when Vicki and I had the identity of being a distributor for Shackley or a distributor for, we've been in Amway. We've been in over 50 companies that don't exist anymore because we were chasing the next new hottest thing. Had to get in on the basement level because this thing's going to just like explode. Did. Parts and pieces everywhere. So anyway, it wasn't until finally realizing recently, literally recently, we need to have a business person identity. Okay, then what? As a business person, because we don't want to do this all over, start over, and all that stuff again, we need to make some business adjustments and really look at what we've done in the past and really look at the results. Okay, so here we go. As a business person, we want to target an ideal person and get to that ideal person as quickly as we can. The person who would be interested and have the money to pay for whatever it is, that we're doing, right? Is it important to have somebody that your thing fits and they can afford it as your customer, your ideal customer or ideal prospect? Absolutely. So then how do you find those people? I mean, how do you know out of people you're looking at that this is an ideal person? You got to get them to respond. And again, looking at getting into a market where you can just sort of automatically pick the right people. Here's what we discovered. If we were focusing on weight loss, the first thing we had to do is be careful not to say, you're fat. Don't you want to lose weight? Don't say that. You look like you could trim down a little bit. No, anyway, but that's not the hardest part. The hardest part is whatever then you use to fulfill that has to work for them and keep working. If it does not work for them in the first place, then it's going to be a real short uh, customer relationship. And it has to keep working as soon as it doesn't. And so, as we look again back over our past, how many of the diet and weight loss customers do you suppose plateaued, quit, and had to go find the next new thing?
Most of them.
Yep. So, all right, bad. How about the I'm hurting and I want to feel better people? That's even harder because, um, you know, how do you know that? And here's the other side of it is how do you reach them? How do you get them to raise their hand? And that's with all of them, the wrinkles, the weight loss, the feel bad, the chronically ill, the this, the that, the other thing. Business person finally stepped in and said, dude, that is taking the hardest of all paths with the shortest of all sustainability ratios because all of them, and worse, most of us feel like if it, I mean, first it has to work on me and then I can sell it. All right. If your product has to work on you before you can sell it, you just eliminated all the other people on the planet that don't have your specific issue. What? Right? You picked this lane to be in: weight loss, feel good, energy, whatever. And you say it has to work on you. So now it does. But now you're locked into pretty much one person that you can talk to because, well, I don't have pain and joint and stiffness issues. I need more energy. Well, no, we're the pain joint issue people. Sorry. What? Business person now, an identity shift adjustment, not an attitude adjustment. It's an identity. I'm a business person. As a business person, I want to be able to help as many people as possible. Okay. How are you going to do that? Pick a different situation to approach. This was you're getting the really fast version of what took a long time to get there, but okay. How about we find something that works 100% of the time for our ideal prospect? How are you going to do that? Get out of the health, weight loss, wrinkle, feel good, energy, blah, blah, blah market and business shift into what virtually every one of my ideal prospects is dealing with. Well, all right? So that forced us then, and believe me when I tell you, after Tony Robbins twice, we've paid Tony Robbins. I mean, and this was the cheap side. I think $2,000 or $3,000 over two or three different goes with him. Good stuff too, by the way. And other people. Man, overall, I shouldn't even be recording this part, but it doesn't matter. Overall, I think we're right at 30 grand in coaching and courses and stuff, not including the library you can't see behind me. To say, and I didn't really get it at first, I identify your ideal prospect. Who is that person? What are they like, and so on. And we tried, well, the ideal person is a person with 45 pounds or more to lose. Yeah, business person shifting says, get out of that market. We're going to circle back to it. So finally, it came down to really, truly, truly, truly. Our ideal prospect is employed, number one, or has a source of income that is taxed, because that's number two. They are employed or have an income stream that also is taxed, and they want more money. And because they don't know it yet, they want to pay less taxes or get a bigger tax refund. How many, just throw this out there, how many people then become an ideal prospect if all they need to do, or if what I'm after is they're employed or have an income stream that they are paying taxes and would like more money and pay less taxes?
Many people.
Yep. What about the ones that don't fall into the I'm not employed and I don't have income, therefore don't pay taxes, so I don't care. I do need more money, but I'm broke.
Hard sell.
Right? Business person shift says you're not a prospect for me. All right, so now, how rejected do I feel if I ask someone just casually, and we're going to talk about how to text and what on this same call, but how rejected do I feel if I ask somebody, hey, are you like, if I know them, are you still working? And we're going to talk about should you still talk to your warm market or not? Depends. But let's just say I don't know them. And I just ask them, hey, quick question. Do you work outside the home? Translation, are you employed? And if they say, yep, yeah, why? I can go somewhere. But if they say, no, man, I'm in between jobs right now, how rejected do I feel knowing they're not a prospect right now?
Not bad at all.
Who can, right?
Right.
They didn't reject me. I have just made a decision they're not going to go on my list right now. Or I could put them and say, hey, you know what? May have something that could help you after you get employed, after you get a job. Here's my card. You'll love it. Okay. So I can text anybody, and depending on whether I know them or not, would depend on whether I say, hey, are you still working at such and such a place? Or, hey, just kind of curious, do you work outside the home? Either of those as a text, and you let it be just that short. All right. So, but staying on track for a second to get to the what does this do for me as a business person? Well, it gets me into a conversation about something I know for sure they are going to have an interest in, because the next line. So now we'll say, yeah, they say, yeah, I work at Safeway, I work at Wilco, I work at Costco, whatever. Oh, cool. I don't care if they want to lose weight, have wrinkles, need more energy or anything. Here's what I do want to know. Would it be different ways to say this? It's a kind of a bridging statement. Would it be cool if, what if, just what if, so we can go with the, what if they told you when you go into work tomorrow, you're going to get a $100 to $300 a month pay raise starting on your next check? Why that, Jim? Because I know they're not going to feel like, oh God, here it comes. Oh no, not another one of those diet people. Oh, for heaven's sakes, my wrinkles, are they that bad? Everybody has to, no, we're completely out of the product arena. And what do you suppose the response is going to be to what if you showed up to work tomorrow and they said you're going to get $100 to $300 a month raise tomorrow, starting next paycheck? Hello? Well, we know that's probably not going to happen. But if there was a way to make that happen, would you want someone to tell you about it? That's the whole approach. That's part one. That's part one of the where are we going with this. So a business person said, well, what's the point of all that? I'm going to get a legit hand raiser that wants to hear more with zero rejection. Because at any point, if they fail the test, I'm done with them, not the other way around. Identity adjustment. I'm a business person. As a business person, I'm looking for the easiest, most efficient, and effective way to get somebody to raise their hand to say, I want to know more about what you're doing. And as a business person, I no longer want to be in the, it has to work on me first. I have to lose weight first, or I got to lose my wrinkles or grow more hair or whatever first. Also, it gets me out of the seriously bad sustainability, because as soon as it stops working for them, if it even does work for them, my check is done with that person because they're to quit. I can set this up to where it won't stop working for them. All right. So, and it's automatic perfect selection identification, because I'm asking questions that are key to my personal perfect prospect. Employed and would love to have a bigger payday. But now, if they say something like, this is a kind of a double part, you can swing it either way you want to go, but here's the other side of it. If you can either run it together or you can do them separately. Here's the separate side. Hey, can I ask you a quick question? Yeah, do you work outside the home? Well, yeah, I do. Why? So at the end of the year from your job, do you usually get a tax refund, or do you have to write them a check? But no, get a refund. If they say, no, got to write a check. Okay. Would it be better then if at the end of the year you could write a smaller check, or maybe even no check? Because of where we're going to go with this, we can help that writing a check thing. But if they say, oh no, get a refund, look for it every year. Okay. If there was a legit way to get $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 bigger refund next year, would you want somebody to tell you about it? And that's the close on any of them, is would you want someone to tell you about it? Would you want somebody to fill you in on it? Well, duh, right? And if they say, well, how's that work? Well, the way it works is, and this is a great line. I actually like it better than I have a friend. And Lee, you remember Dan Gobb?
Yeah.
This is where this part comes from, Dan. So Dan's ending to this, would you want someone to tell you about it? Yes. Cool. I meet weekly with a group of some pretty sharp business people. I could put your thing on the table on our next visit and see if they have any ideas, is one way of going with it. Another way would be, I meet with a pretty short group of people, and one of them actually deals specifically with this whole getting a bigger tax refund, or one of them deals specifically with how to get an immediate raise at work. I can find out if they've got some time. Do you ever do Zoom calls? This is what we need to know now. Do you have internet at home? So this is a step-by-step thing, but it's easy once you kind of got it down, the steps. Ask the leading question. Do you have a job, or do you still work at? Depends on what you know about them. If you know nothing about them, do you work outside the home? Is pretty, and then if they say, yeah, I do, but they didn't say I work at wherever. Yeah, I work outside the home. Great. Like in business for yourself, or do you work for a place? So that you can find out specifically. I'm watching the time to make sure we're going to keep this pretty tight. But all right, so let's stop here for a minute. Any questions so far? How's it sounding?
Sounding good. I was wondering if you could work on a strategy for retired people too, eventually. So,
Yes. Let's see who this is. Okay, Jimmy, glad you can make it this far. Right? Yeah, Jimmy's saying he's been able to avoid paying taxes. So on this, in fact, I'll do it right now. The question is from Magdalena and for Jimmy too, because he's in the metals company. Can you use this strategy at the end of the day when we get to the punchline of how we're going to set this home business up they need? Can you use any business? You can, but what you really want is for the business entity itself to be set up with money they already spend. If they're not already investing in metals, if they're not already in a weight loss thing, which is danger or energy or whatever, if they're not already spending money there, you set your business strategy up still on shaky ground, ice, thin ice, sand is going to get swept away by the tide coming in, whatever. But if you can say, look, you already bathe, brush your teeth, eat popcorn like beef jerky, which we have. Yeah, you already use deodorant, do laundry, all this stuff. You're donating that money anyway. The smart business person, you're telling them, takes all the A-list money they're spending. A-list meaning I'm spending it anyway somewhere. And they convert as many of those dollars as they can into business expenses. Well, if you can take somebody and convert 80 to $100 a month of money they're already sending off to another store that get it, and all they're getting is product, and turn that into money that now gives them a business, you have unlimited sustainability because they'll not. Why would I change? All right, he's gone. Okay, so that's the idea there, and I wanted it on the recording. From there, let's say you do have a metals business, you do have another business with supplements that in this case Melaleuca doesn't make and use or have. Yes, then now that you've got them in a business oriented situation where they're saving money on their taxes, or they've got this pay raise now because you've told them they can go in and just tell the boss, I need, do whatever you got to do, change my exemptions, whatever you got to do, so that I get $150 a month less taken out and shows up in my paycheck. And then use that money to fund buying metals, to fund buying that other stuff Melaleuca doesn't have, to fund just putting it in the bank, right? Now having a true rainy day fund. Whatever it is. And so what I'm going to be doing is putting together on a web page all of the scripting for this. Now, to come to your question, Wayne, about retired people, if they are paying taxes and they really don't have, well, if they're and the retirement income is such that they're not withholding. Let's just say they're in a situation where there's no taxes being withheld, so every year they got to write a check. But they're geared for that. They already know, set aside $1,000 a month or whatever it is, or for the IRS. If that's what they're having to do now, then they are in a position to do the would writing a smaller check. So let me ask, are you employed? No, retired. Great. Well, let me ask you, at the end of the year, do you have to write a check to the IRS, or does somebody actually send you money? Oh God, no. We have to write a, $9,000 check every year. Oh. Well, let me ask you this. If there was some way to write a smaller check next year, would you want someone to tell you about it? That's the kind of the, make them answer. Basically, they're going to answer, and it could be, well, what is that? What is it? I work with a pretty sharp team of people. We meet once a week. And I think one of them, this is sort of their area. Would you like to see if they would visit with you? Do you ever do Zoom? Because that's the next thing we want to know. The connection tool. And you'll be able to field in, because they go, no, Zoom, God, no, nah. Do you talk on the phone? Well, yeah, because that's what we're doing now. All right, well, we could do this on the phone. We will do this in any way that they need to do it, because then we can move people. I've moved people from phone. They just didn't know how to get Zoom. They have, virtually everybody's got Wi-Fi now, or they've got, the internet on their phone. So we can work that out, but that's all you're after. That is your pay. Well, so what is it? That's what the guy is for. That's why we meet once a week, is to get these ideas. He's the one with the answers, not me. Take yourself out of that equation. The smart business person business identity shift says, do what empowers your program the most, not what makes you feel like you're the big cheese or whatever. Because even when you can be the person that could go all the way to the finish line with this thing, make that, hold out for as long as you can being that person, because that is what you're going to teach. People are 90% trained by the time they come on board by what happened to them. And so if they went through meeting a team member that had the answers from you, they will do the same. Then they're going to lean on you, and that's what you want. All right. Questions or comments now?
Sounds good.
What do you think, Lee?
So you're thinking maybe you would have a weekly time that we could connect to your Zoom with our prospects, and they could learn from you or from the group. Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
Worst case scenario would be someone who just insists on learning more. Send them to nodoubts.net. And there's 2 videos up there now, part 1, part 2, along with the as of this month pricing from Walmart versus us. So, and it becomes relevant to them because they hear on the 2 videos, converting expenses you're already spending, money you're already sending out the door, and here's a list of the stuff. All right, so now they connect, they say, yeah, let's set that up. And now I'm talking to them, and you're there too. Here's what they're going to hear. in condensed form. So and then it's either want a payday, bigger payday, you want a bigger refund, or you want to not write as big a check. Whatever. It all works out it all comes down to the same thing. The only way that's going to happen is you must have a home business. Period. Now notice in this part where Malaluka's name comes in. So you got to have a home business, all right? Because that opens, and they're going to hear, that opens up the door for all these tax advantages. And they don't have to be huge. Lee now knows he needs to fire the accountant that told him wrong, but just in case, just so you know, if you have a side hustle and you've got another income stream, regardless of source, job, or it's coming from retirement, and you're going to file, and now you got this business, you're going to file 1040, not 1040A. And you're going to list your first income source, job, retirement, whatever it is, on the 1040. And then on the Schedule C, you're going to list your business revenue. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you were being very generous and you even counted the loyalty points that Melaleuca gives you. And so you end up with first year $300 and woohoo, Melaleuca income in this case. Okay. But now you're taking part of your internet, part of your cell phone, part of your miles, part of the square footage of your house or your rent. You're taking, depending on the situation, wages to a kid. You're taking stuff you bought for your business, like pens, paper, copy paper, whatever. And so now your side hustle has a $3,000 loss because you were able to list all these expenses. That loss gets carried over to Schedule A and let $3,000. So let's just say your retirement income was $50,000. We take $3,000 off of it. So now you have a taxable income of 47, or actually it's an adjusted gross, $47,000. Now you can still take the standard deduction, which is going to be, if you're married, $30,000, actually 31,500, I think it is. Off that 47,000, we could end up possibly making this person not owe any taxes at all. But it takes having a home business to be able to do that stuff. All right, so now they hear home business. What could we do as a home business? Well, maybe you want to start making furniture. Maybe you want to start cleaning homes. Maybe you want to start doing bookkeeping for people. Maybe whatever, right? No. On purpose, we are painting a home business picture that's like, I don't want to do that. Right. Well, maybe we could take money that you're already spending. You bathe, do laundry, this, the whole shopping list, right? And our store, we have a store that sells the same stuff, made in the USA, 40-year-old company. And we can create a business that way, because all of that becomes a tax deduction now. It becomes part of your business. They're going to hear that. Cool. What we don't know is if you spend enough in these categories to make the business fly. They use a point system, and it takes 35 points of monthly consumption of these specific categories. And what we have is a form, an online form called "Which Products and Services Do You Use?" I could send it to you, and you just check the boxes, and it'll tally up the points, and we'll see. Would you like to fill that out? That's the payday of this meeting. This first meeting with them is to get them to say yes in that form. I don't think I've been a while since we've had anybody that scored less than 35 points. I think the guy was single and lives at home and works at our mail more. So, but by getting them and then I can tell them, the name of the company is Melaleuca. Have you ever heard of them? Or also known as the Wellness Company. Now that we're this far into it, we can cover a lot of ground. But let's pause at this point. How important is it that when they start this home business, they also lose weight, get fewer wrinkles, have more energy? That's not even on the board to consider.
Uh-huh.
The only thing that is on the board is, do your clothes get clean? Does your hair, or does the popcorn pop? How about that beef jerky or the beef sticks, whatever, And as long as they want to continue to have the benefits of a home business, and they were already spending this money anyway, they're going to stay in business for a long time. And the whole next new shiny object thing issue, there's 450 products. If you feel like you really want to experiment, and this is huge in that there's a very large product base for them to migrate into as they get more and more. It's like, wow, all this other stuff's been really good. Let's try that cologne. Let's try that deodorant. Let's try that lipstick, whatever. They've got it all. So we now have, using the business person identity shift, take ourselves completely off the hook for, does it work? I don't know. Did it work for me? Well, what if it stops working for them? None of this stuff will stop working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And business person shift said, I want sustainability, and I want the company to be around so long that they're done doing stupid stuff. Because, man, that just really, really hits hard when you thought you had a good thing going, and then they do something so stupid that they either go out of business or they change formulations, and so now the stuff doesn't work anymore for anybody. We've had that happen. Or we've been with a company that did something stupid. They're still in business, but the FTC put a lockdown on them for a year and a half. And so we went a year and a half. Well, we didn't. There was a few people that hung out. They just went and did other things and never canceled their membership or their distributorship, whatever. But, we know Melaleuca is not going to do any of that. So anyway, business person said, let's make this the last run we have to make, because they're not going to go out of business. They're not going to do stupid stuff. They're not going to change formulations to something that doesn't work. None of that. And on top of it, all this stuff has to do is work good enough that they, that they'll just keep using it because it's their business now. Then if they want to lose weight or whatever else, they can look in the Melaleuca product mix, and they can also look at other stuff you may have. That the facts are, we've got more Mito, and we've got Great Life with some very specific things that if they want to explore, and they done whatever, then great. We can not withhold it. That's not the idea of the whole thing, is to withhold good stuff. But from a business standpoint, we need them to be in something that doesn't depend on, the mystery of the human condition. We're a working, walking chemistry set here. That, anyway, let's see here. Okay. So, questions or thoughts now?
Well, I had a question about the beef. Can we buy beef sticks or any beef without paying the beef membership fee?
Yes, because what they did is they put two of the flavors of the beef sticks and the beef jerky into the regular member product
Product catalog.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And so the payday of the Zoom meeting or the phone call, round one, is getting them to say, yes, I want that product checkoff list. Once we've got that, and they got, 80, 90, 100 points or whatever it is, then we get back together. And from there, it's, what do you want to do about this? Because we can see right now, you can make this fly with dollars you're already donating to Amazon or Costco or Walmart or wherever.
Would you include any of their presentation videos early
As
on, or would you wait till they
well,
sign up?
Maybe later.
I would do it later, because
Okay.
then, I'm actually glad you asked that, because that's the final piece that we want them to hear too, is this: at the end of the day, now that we've got you set up in a home business with these products you're already buying somewhere, the facts are these products do have to measure up. They do have to work. The company has to be there in with products and service that you don't end up hating. But I'm in business, I hate them, because sooner or later you would leave. So to that end, I've got some videos and information that I want you to become familiar with as we move forward from here, while you're building your product experience and figuring out, man, these people are for real. And that's where all that support material comes in, is after they're on board.
One thing too you might want to talk about is the 100% guarantee of the products. If you don't like the
Absolutely.
product, you can call them and tell them what your complaint is, and they'll say, well, what would you like to replace it with? And oh, by the way, keep that product that you bought.
Mm-hmm.
They've done that for years.
It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was I can only imagine, that, well, actually, I can't imagine. When you figure with a 96%, and all of this material you can then add on as needed, but just imagine what it must be like. They have somewhere around 2.5 million members and a 96% reorder rate. So how many orders that mean they're doing per month?
A lot.
1.9 million.
Yeah, almost 2 million orders a month, which means, as Lee was saying, yeah, we want you to send that stuff back that you didn't like. Long ago, they said, why bother? Because we're already sending out 1.9 million packages. We don't need, to deal with somebody sending some stuff back, because what are they going to do with it? It became more cost effective. Just say, you know what? Keep it. We'll send you the one you want.
Well, then the other thing that we need to touch on is the fact that the convenience
Mhm.
of ordering either online or by phone, and the fact that they have an exclusive contract with UPS. And in the number of years that I've been just a customer, they have never, ever screwed an order up.
Right. Actually, that brings up something too that I want to get on this recording. And it was Magdalena actually that kind of initiated this search. But if you have somebody that for whatever reason says, well, I'd like to try one of the, and they tell you which product it is, right? That they'd like to try before doing, just I want to see if it's as good as, and then I'll do, okay. Or it's a relative or somebody they don't want to be a member, but could you get me, whatever it is, onesie twosie thing. So Melaleuca has a thing called a personal production account. Well, basically what it amounts to is this, the functionality, because I called and asked. And like Wayne, let's say that it's somebody named Susie. And so all you do, because what you don't want to do is be ordering stuff and then sending it or driving it over to their house and paying for it with your money and then collecting from Susie or blah, blah, blah. What you do is you handwrite a note. I, Wayne Glenn, authorize Susie to use my account to order products she wants by telephone. Her name is, her email is, and her phone number is. You put it on there, and then you sign it, and you can either fax it, mail it, or take a picture of it and email it to my account at melaleuca.com. My account at melaleuca.com. Then Susie can call the order line, tell them who she is, register her own payment method, and she'll get member pricing. Her points count as your points.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever she generates is your points. And the reason they came up with this way back was for somebody who wants to be a marketing executive, but they just no way in the world can they come up with 35 points on their own. Well, all they got to have is one or two people ordering at least 29 points through their account, and boom, you're an active marketing executive. And it takes all of the, well, what if I can't get online? Because the only way Susie can order is by phone.
That's called what again?
Well, the technical term is it becomes your personal, it makes your account your personal production account, but it already is.
Okay.
All you're doing, so the other side of it, the easier thing is just it's for you to let people that don't want to become a member yet, but they do want to try some stuff, and you don't want to be the one that says, okay, I'll order it and then I'll drive over on Friday and give it to you, and then you can pay me, or I'll just give it to you, whatever. Yeah, very cool situation there.
Yeah, sounds good.
All righty. So, yeah, a 1 to 3 word or one sentence opener in a text, or even just verbally. Hey, do you still work at, or do you work outside the home? Yeah. Is it a job, or are you like got a business of your own or what? No, job, yeah. Okay. The blended version is, so would it be cool or would it be a benefit if you could have your boss give you a $100 to $300 a month pay raise at work starting on your next check? Or if you like getting a tax refund, have a $1,000 to $3,000 bigger CC, you just blend it together, bigger tax refund at the end of the year. Would that be cool? Or whatever fits you, right? Well, duh, how would that happen? I work with a pretty short group of people. We meet every week. And one of the guys there, kind of, this is his specialty. If there was a way to arrange for him to give you that information, would you want to do that? Any way you want to word it so that you get them to say, yes, I wouldn't mind hearing about this. At any point, if they're like, don't take it personally, be glad they told you now. Right?
Right.
But if you don't sound hurried, if you don't sound, weird about it, if you're just letting it be a thing you do, and this is business person identity shift is what this is. Getting out of presentation mode, getting out of having the answers mode. You're just in the offer this cool thing mode. And at the end of the day, think about the what good can this do for somebody to set them up in their own home business? So they can take advantage of all those advantage, all that tax stuff. And then where does this go for you and for them? I'm going to give you a target. Same target I'm shooting at. Senior director. 20 personals. 5 personally enrolled directors. So out of your 20 personals, 5 of them become directors. 20,000 in group points in a month. So if you do the math on that, it comes out to be somewhere around 500 or 600 people in your little organization. Getting there will pay you about 30 grand. And then you'll have a sustainable income of between 1,500 and 2,000 a month. Repeatable income.
That would be nice.
Yeah, because let me do the quick calculator here. Well, yeah, 20,000 times 7% is 1,400, but some of those people are your personals, 20 of them, and you get 14% or higher. Actually, you get 20% on all your personals as a senior director. So that's why, 1,500 to up to 2 grand is going to be your senior director monthly income after the. And when I was talking to Chuck, because I thought I had it figured out about how much you're gonna make to just get there, and he said, "Oh no, I thought it was about 7-8 grand," and he's like, "No, it's like 30," because as your people advance and they get their 100, 200, 500, $1,000 bonus, so do you. And I'm like, wow, dude. And yes, it's true. You're eligible for a $500 a month car bonus at that level as well. On top of the 14, 15, 200 or $2,000
Oh,
There you go. All right. Well, we went a little past top of the hour here. I'll be putting this together in a format where you can see some text, with the words. But the big warning, the big thing is, as you either text, email, or talk, think hugely fewer words,
mhm.
because the business person identity shift says, I want them to raise their hand as soon as possible with yeses. That means you had to ask a short question. Are you still working at that whatever place? Or do you work outside the home? Yes or no. Oh, if there was a way to either get a bigger tax refund or even a $100 to $300 a month pay raise, would you want to have somebody tell you about that? Yes or no. Okay, cool. I work with a little group of people, and one of the guys kind of specializes in this. Would you like me to see if he could share that information on a Zoom? Yes or no. What's it all about? The guy telling you about it. That's what it's about. I'm not the answer person. You are not the answer person. Would you want us to set that up? 15 minutes or so? Yes or no? Nowhere in there is it, do you want to join Melaleuca? Hey, this is a wellness thing. And besides that, all the stuff's toxic free. No, that's all made in the USA at this stage. That comes later. Right?
Okay.
Okay. See, now this is the point where the professional presenter says, okay, raise your hand if you got some value out of this. So, okay, guys. Um, I'm not sure if we're going to get together again before 2026. Next week is just like everybody just do family and be thinking about being a business person, taking the easiest, fastest, most effective route with no rejection, few words, setting up appointments for people who want to get more of the story. And a punchline that I've used, because you're being completely accurate, if they're worried about getting on a Zoom, on that Zoom, there is nothing to buy. There is no anything to spend money on that Zoom. They can't buy. There's nothing to buy. It's information only. Period. And you could go as far as to say, hey, we'll give you a list of stuff to check off anyway. Okay.
So when do you think you'll start having the weekly Zoom group meetings?
Well, for our group, it'll be probably starting the week of January 5th.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. That's a Monday for us.
So,
And these for now, until it gets to where we can't manage it, these will be entirely on demand to meet your person's schedule for this part where it's like, hey, Billy Bob here wants to know, how does that work to get a pay raise at work or get a bigger tax refund? We'll set those up on an individual basis, not a group.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet. Lee, any questions or thoughts, parting comments?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay. Does it all sound like a good idea?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds
Excellent.
great.
Cool. Then we will cut you all loose. Got to go feed horses, and we're very grateful it didn't snow again. So
Tell them hello for me.
I'll do it. See you guys.
Bye.